In today's video, I will be creating a Brookhaven based off a bunch of different disasters. Before I make these Brookhavens, I want to see what tragedies we can already experience. I'm gonna join a public server and let's just see what kind of nonsense we go through. I've seen that sometimes Brookhaven can actually have an earthquake, so hopefully that happens while we're here. One tragedy that's extremely common in Brookhaven are serious car crashes. I just hit that woman right there. You good, bro? Anyway, I could potentially make a Brookhaven game where we can actually crash and destroy our cars. Another serious disaster we can face is our houses being lit completely on fire. This doesn't actually damage the houses, but it's definitely not something that should be happening inside your house. If we run over to the disasters section by the side of the house, you'll actually see a bunch of disasters we can turn on for everyone in our house to experience. I can make a Brookhaven based of each of these, but instead of it being in the house, it's around the whole map. This looks completely crazy. There's stuff flying around everywhere. That's how Brookhaven houses look when you turn all the disasters on. I can't even use that house anymore cause it's being eaten alive by a solar flare. We can actually turn on an earthquake which affects everywhere around the house. What if I made this but it actually destroys the buildings? Anyway, enough said. Let's go ahead and make this thing. The first Brookhaven I'm gonna make is an earthquake Brookhaven. If you guys didn't know, an earthquake is where the whole ground shakes and destroys a bunch of buildings around it. These are actually pretty common around the world, but they can be extremely damaging. In order to make this realistic, I'll need to destroy a bunch of these Brookhaven buildings. Let's start off with the good old burger barn. I'm just gonna start rotating and destroying stuff and let's see how it comes out. That looks pretty dang destroyed. Next up, the motel. Just gotta keep rotating these parts until they look like they've collapsed. That actually looks so cool. I'm gonna do this to the old airport and I'll see you guys when it's finished. Okay, I made it so the tree actually fell on top of the airport, making the roof completely collapse. Of course, I'll also need to do this to the main building. This thing is just gonna be completely crumbled and on its last legs. I'll also place another tree on top since the last one worked out really well. This looks so dang cool. Wolfpack should add this as one of those theme packs in the game. Of course, I'll also need to modify this spawn point so it looks like all the lights have moved around a bit. Let me speed this baby up so you guys don't fall asleep. This is looking so awesome. I almost forgot about the main stores. This is gonna be a little harder cause there's just so much we gotta move around. This is looking pretty destroyed to me. One thing that's a little harder to make is a crack inside the floor. These can happen sometimes and you gotta be really careful not to fall into them. I'll just make a really simple crack right now and I might adjust it to look a little better later on. I think it would look really cool if I also knocked over the Brookhaven arch. This thing is giant, so I'll also take down a few of the trees around it. Almost forgot! The Brookhaven plane would have definitely crashed in this scenario. So I'll go ahead and place it in the middle of the town looking destroyed and all that. This is how the map looks after a massive earthquake. Now I just gotta add some sort of script into the game which makes the whole map shake. Here we go! This is actually so crazy! Let me know if you guys want me to release these games so you can actually play it for yourselves. On to the next disaster. A disaster that can sometimes occur after an earthquake is a tsunami. For those of you who don't know what a tsunami is, it's basically a giant wave that can literally crash through cities. We can't actually experience tsunamis in Brookhaven because there's literally no waves. So next let's make a Brookhaven with a real working tsunami. I'm gonna start off by raising all of the water so it creates some kind of flood. I'll also add in some more water so it works out a lot better. This is looking really good so far. Next we gotta add the giant waves. This wave should work out perfectly, and I'll add these all around the map so we have to avoid them from all angles. Let's see if this actually works correctly. Holy moly! That worked so dang good. Let me move this back a bit so we got some more time to avoid it. I'll also place this giant ladder right here so we can see the giant waves in action. Let's wait for this bad boy to arrive. Here it is. Imagine if Brookhaven actually added this into the game. That would be the best update ever. Let's make the wave even bigger. And what if I added a bunch of waves back to back of each other so there's not only one? Let's go. It's so big, bro. The ladder isn't even tall enough to avoid it. Okay, there's way too many waves now. I'll need to tone it down a bit. Comment if you guys also want me to release this game. This would be so fun to play with you guys. So another really big disaster is a bunch of fire surrounding our house. Brookhaven only allows us to set fire to our house, but what if I made it so the whole map is burning to the ground? So here we are back in Roblox Studio. The thing that's gonna be causing the giant fire is this massive meteor right here. This is smashed into the main building, so I need to make it so it's on fire and just completely destroy. You guys have already seen me destroy these buildings, so I'll cut to the part when it's done. This is how it turned out. I'll also spawn in a burning car and a burning plane. This looks pretty destroyed. Next, let's change a bit of the pathways and roads so it looks like it's really hot. Let's also make the sky red so it fits the theme a lot better. I'm gonna destroy a few more of these buildings and I'll see you guys when it's complete. This is looking pretty dang rough. Why not add a few lava zombies and weapons to make the game a little more interesting? I also made the arch look like it's completely burned down and crashed onto the floor. The water is way too watery for this game. Let's switch this out to lava instead. If I spawn in this tool right here, I can actually hop in the game and set whatever I want on fire. Good gosh! It really just destroys any building we use it on. All of the bricks are just falling everywhere and getting lit on fire. Oops! I fell under the map. This is by far one of the coolest maps yet, but let's move on to the next disaster. One disaster that happened ages ago was the sinking of the Titanic. I came across this game a few days ago, which showcases what it would be like to be on the Titanic while it was sinking. So I thought I'd recreate this inside Brookhaven. Before I create the real deal, let me show you a way we can sink Brookhaven ships. We need to get a smallest ship and place a ladder underneath, and just like that our ship will start sinking into the ocean. But we definitely can't sink the Titanic on Brookhaven, so let's create that right now. This is the Titanic I'll be using, and I'll place it in the middle of the ocean just like the real thing. If I ungroup this boat, it actually splits into two parts where I can split it in half. The real thing actually split in half as it was sinking, so this looks pretty dang realistic. Okay, that's pretty good for the ship. Now I'll go ahead and place a few yachts around the ship picking up the people that are sinking. I'll also need to add an iceberg which the boat crashed into. Don't forget the lifeboats which will be carrying the survivors. Looking pretty nice. Let's go drive to the wreckage and see what's up. Hold on, there's an invisible wall right here. I'll just spawn in a plane so we can just fly over any obstacle. Looks like we're taking off all good. Here's the ship. As you can see, this is a really accurate recreation of the real boat. We even got all the emergency boats on the side and all the detail on the top part of the ship. There's honestly not that much more I can add to this map. The only thing that needed to be added was the Titanic crashing. We can also experience Brookhaven in a bunch of disasters by literally searching Brookhaven in the game tabs. This game's meant to be a zombie apocalypse Brookhaven, and I guess the whole point of this game is to survive all the zombies. Why is my neck literally broken? When we die, a whole puddle of blood surrounds our character. I don't even know if that's legal on Roblox. I just noticed that when we get eaten by a zombie, we also turn into one. That's so cool. This is meant to be a Brookhaven that's completely flooded. I'm assuming it's similar to what I created earlier in the video. For some reason, they've also given us a sword where we can just kill innocent people. I definitely needed to do that in this game. If we own a private server, there's also an option where we can flood the whole map. This basically spawns in a bunch of water that covers the bottom part of the area. We can't swim in it though. It's just something for cosmetics. Anyway, let me know if you guys enjoy these types of videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click another video on screen. Bye guys!